We have not heard back from the Jordan School District if this will be impacting their school day, but we have learned from West Jordan Police that this was a targeted shooting and they believe there's no threat to the public. Why don't we pull you into the scene and I can explain what we learned so far. There was a car crash on Sparrowtail Road between a Mercedes-Benz van. Then witnesses heard gunshots. Yes, well, this fire started at an apartment complex and it spread to 5 homes. This happened at 11 o'clock last night. People have been without power since, and we have Rocky Mountain Power that actually just was able to get into the area within the last 2 minutes. The plane goes down, and then bystanders that were driving by jumped out of their car and went towards this fiery crash to go save them, and they got them out of the plane. You can see it's still charred, and they have it taped off right now. Game 5 against the Memphis Grizzlies saw just over 14,000 fans in the stands, and tonight, over 18,000.
We were joking around. I'm going to try and walk down. It was quite a climb to get up here, but here we go. Okay. Woo! Blanket in here. I have a towel, an emergency kit in case I get stuck on the road, some food, water, and my skis just in case if I maybe find a nice slope that I want to hit. Ignore the popcorn that I have in there too. I was hungry. But you just want to be prepared because honestly, I'm a Minnesota girl. I've been driving on snowy roads since I was 16. These ones are bad. It's difficult. The shooting happened back on September 18th, and we do want to warn you, some of the body cam footage can be a little hard to watch. Officers from both Unified and West Valley Police Departments had an arrest warrant out for Joseph Schultz. Police say that Schultz was involved in several felony cases. Yeah, we are finding out some more information about that breaking news out of Salt Lake City where I told you there was a shooting that happened. We have now found out that this is fatal. So we have a live look at the scene right now at 9 South and 5 West. And from what I heard from this press conference that just wrapped up right now is that they believe this person that was shot lives in a tent in the area. Yes, a devastating weekend started with a crash in Spanish Fork Canyon. Let's get to this one. This is a head-on collision that killed 2 people. And then Saturday morning, we had a rollover crash that was going to be in Sevier County. We do actually have a bit of a big crash right now on I-80. It's in Tooele. It's causing some backups, and so I'm here to tell you how to get around it. All right, so this is going to be 2 lanes that are blocked right now. On the westbound side, it's going to be from Burmeister Road to Solar Road. How you can get around it is by taking the exit in Grantsville here, and then you can avoid the whole thing. And then you just got to skirt, go around, and then you can hop back on I-80. Actually had to increase their hours for workers collecting all the garbage by 28%. Anyone want to take a little nap on this mattress? Well, take a look at what's trending this morning. A North Carolina woman is $1.4 million richer after winning the Powerball lottery.
A funny thing is, she says she bought the ticket for the wrong drawing. It wasn't supposed to be the Powerball. She bought sprinkles.
Chocolate sprinkles come down.
Come with me.
Oh my gosh. There's an Oompa Loompa somewhere that's in a lot of trouble, though.
That's right.
Yes, well, we have a tree right here that is snapped and then another one off to my left here that is uprooted. This is going to be a pretty common scene that you'll see across the valley, but something that isn't common, a tree landing on top of people.
Yeah, the wind's blowing. My wife's small, so I feel like I got to hold on to her so she doesn't get away.
Steve Ayton is holding his wife a little tighter after that windstorm.
So the crash that we heard was actually the light hitting the floor.
While sound asleep, an 8-foot lawn intruder came crashing through their roof.
Big branch to go through your house and drop on your bed.
Had the tree landed a couple feet to the right,
It kind of seemed like it was all in slow motion.
it could have possibly killed someone.
Well, you know, like I said, I should have died 10 or 12 years ago, maybe.
It's not Steve's first brush with death. He fought a form of leukemia 12 years ago. Within the last 2 weeks, he also got off dialysis for a kidney disease.
It's all borrowed time. Things have been going pretty good. I can't complain a whole lot about something like this.
In fact, he already patched up the roof.
The size of that and how heavy that, you know, piece of wood that was laying across the bed is, you just have to feel lucky.
When living on what you called borrowed time, it will take a lot more than a tree to burst your bubble, even if it bursts through your ceiling.
It's just a house, you know. Got my family, got my kids, got my grandkids. That's what life's been all about.
Now, Steve did make the joke that he has a new skylight, so they're taking this one in strides, but they do estimate that it'll cost them about $5,000 to make these repairs themselves. Live in Salt Lake, I'm Morgan Wolfe, KSL 5 News.
Yes, Shaw to fame, of course, in the reality TV show that was filmed here in Salt Lake City, where she flaunted her lavish lifestyle. But prosecutors say that she built her success at the expense of vulnerable, often elderly, working-class people.
Ms. Shaw, we're with KSL TV. Do you have a comment on the charges at all?
Leaving the U.S. federal courthouse in Salt Lake City, Jen Shaw stared straight forward and had nothing to say.
You have a message for your family, your kids?
Shaw is facing 2 charges: conspiracy to commit wire fraud in connection to telemarketing and conspiracy to commit money laundering. Prosecutors say that Shaw and her assistant Stuart Smith compiled lists of people, mainly 55 and older, who they sold so-called businesses services to, including website design and tax preparation. Instead, the court documents claim that the two sold lead lists for co-conspirators to repeatedly scam the same people, ranging from 2012 up until this month. Investigators claim that they took significant efforts to conceal the scheme, including having third-party names on official documents, encrypting communication, and creating offshore bank accounts.
Do you have anything you want to say to your husband?
Shaw lives in Park City with her 2 children and her husband, who is a University of Utah football coach. KSL TV found public records showing this home was built in 2020. Where Shaw reportedly lives. The judge said investigators have the right to search all homes, vehicles, and offices of the defendants.
Have you had any contact with your assistant in the last few days?
If convicted, Shaw could face up to 30 years in prison, and her assets could be seized.
The judge didn't seek to detain Shaw prior to her trial, but she has conditions to not commit a federal offense while on release. Some of them include to surrendering her passport. She also has to have no contact with her assistant that's involved in this case and have no engagement in telemarketing. I was told by a court official in Salt Lake City that New York investigators have been building this case for months. Shaw is set to appear virtually tomorrow for the Southern District of New York at 12 p.m. our time. She has not entered a plea yet.
Yeah, still a lot of questions in this case. We'll see how this goes. Morgan, thank you. Also, do you know you've gotten hold of Bravo, the network that Shaw was on, and they've told you that they have had no comment and wouldn't really confirm if that show was filming today or not. Do you know much about that?
Yes, and they did say that they will fill us in if they do have a comment. We will be reaching out to them again tomorrow morning.
All right, Morgan.
Beautify the city. I think that's what, public art's for.
We all see the world through a different lens. Artist Cole Eisenhower
So you can edit the sweat out later, right? On my forehead?
is hoping to change how some see Ogden.
The image of what people think Ogden is, or just combined it with, the fact that we're really outdoorsy out here and, there's other things besides just recreational activity.
He's walked these streets his whole life,
A lot of people can like to relate with the fact that I'm local, and
never imagining that he would leave a permanent mark on them.
this is part of a bigger project making Ogden more of an art district.
When he began the discussion with a local business for this mural, there was a theme that came to mind.
All the bodies together, kind of like I was saying, it's just, we're all people. And that's kind of the idea I want to convey.
Highlighting different cultures and backgrounds was important to the artist and the business, acknowledging that our state isn't spared from inequality.
We're all people, bottom line, and we should treat each other, like we want to be treated. I don't think it's any more complex than that, but it's become so much more complex than that.
While he's been hard at work,
How's it going?
people are admiring his efforts
Trying to do my best.
and the sense of inclusion.
Thank you.
In Ogden, Morgan Wolfe,
It'll be sweet.
KSL 5 News.